I've noticed the people that have good hearts, good intentions, that want to do good in the world usually find themselves having the biggest struggles when it comes to sale. It comes from shame and guilt blockages. It comes from just rationally sabotaging, thinking like, no, I don't want to be one of these salesy people. And again, coming back to what I said at the beginning, there are plenty of examples of bad sales that have existed, that exist still today. And if we think that all sales are that kind of sales, then the moment we go to sell, we think we're being like one of those people that we do not want to identify with. Like, why would you want to become a bad person and do the activity of bad people? That's just not in line with who you are. So you find yourself stuck. You have these guilt, shame, emotions, and blockages that come a lot from our cultural learnings, our childhood imprints, and then our own experiences around sales, and assuming that all sales are negative. But if I were to tell you that some of the most beautiful activities and the most abundance that we see in the world is the result of a sales process, and some of the most beautiful sales that happen, again, we'll start using different terms when it goes beautifully. Like, think of anything you've bought that was so seamless, so fun, and you received the product and it was so good, it was even more than you expected. And I'll share a personal story, and you'll notice the joy that comes up. And for those of you who might be watching this rather than listening to this, I'm sitting on a chair right now that I just bought myself for Christmas. And this chair was way too expensive. And it was so... And like, I had such a process of buying it, but I had an amazing year and I wanted to get myself this gift, and I sit on this chair all the time. And so I started shopping, I started looking, and they had this one, and I'm going to see if I can show it. It has a Superman logo. Okay. And then I realized, oh my God, my book's colors are blue and red. Okay. And the S is not for Superman, it's for sales. And I realized I have a super sales chair. And so I went to the website. There was a customer support that was guiding me, answering me questions, telling me when it would be delivered, gave me a coupon code, got me to like make the decision before Black Friday was done. And then, hey, I was pushed and I made the purchase. Then I had this whole like waiting for it. Then it arrived in a beautiful box, and then I unpacked it. I built it myself because they had all the right tools and instructions. This was better than IKEA. Okay, this was the best instructions I've ever seen to assembly with images, and I assembled it. I sat in it, and it was the most amazing chair, and I love it, and it's so fun. And somebody sold that to me. A company designed a sales process that included a love for the product, a love for the buyers of that product, and a process that ensured that they would get access to that chair. And that's a loving sales process. And look at the joy I had about paying like way too much for a chair, but I'm filled with joy. So much that just before getting on this interview, I realized I was doing some deals with my business partner. And to me, one of the best things to do as an exchange is gifting. And so I thought about my business partner. Christmas is around the corner, and I just bought him the same kind of chair, but he's a Harry Potter fan. So I bought him a Harry Potter edition of this chair, but I coordinated with his girlfriend, and he's going to be receiving it for Christmas. And now another sale happened with the same company, and I'm gifting it to a friend. And again, that's just an example of, wow, look what happens when sales is done right. That's not the things that we talk about, we think about. And if you think of the way that you sell, how can you design it in an experience that people are so transformed from the entire experience, not just from the moment they buy, but after they buy? What's the experience that you deliver to them that it's so good that, look, I just became a 2-time buyer of an overpriced chair. And when we think about our product and services and how we sell, it's like when you start doing that, you start realizing it's not about trying to maximize the marketing conversion when you start. It's just how can you delight people one at a time? And it comes from a sales transaction. And when it comes from a place of joy, it becomes contagious. And you get to share that joy with others. And then your buyers will have that resonance and emotion as well, that you start having a good experience. And if you have the right intentions, I urge you to try to see if you understand the customer enough, and you've built a product that you're very confident, and you've done enough research, and you're willing to take a chance to put it in their hands for them to have a transformation with it, and you have the best of intentions, go and do it. Take that leap of faith. You're not going to be 100% guaranteed that whatever sale you make will guarantee a happy client. But if your intent is good, I would say ask for the credit card, make the sale. And I know that because you have the right heart, you're going to do what's necessary to make the deal a good deal. And you're going to be right by who you sell to. And then you have an opportunity to delight. And I think not a lot of people take that chance because those fears, those guilt, that insecurity comes in. And I want to be able to give permission to the good-hearted people to just go take that leap of faith, because for every customer that you're going to acquire, you're going to have an opportunity to delight. And if you're doing it with the energy of joy, it's usually going to resonate, and then it'll build your confidence, and then it'll be a snowball. And that's really what I want to see people be able to do more. In my book, I actually label out 5 loves of selling. And you know, we talked about this before, so I won't go too much into details, but I'll share the fact that the first love you have in every sale you make is the love of the impact that you make. So the difference that you make with that sale, when you're clear on the difference that you make, like for me, like I work with spiritual authors and I help build their business, and I manage their business, their team, their growth, their marketing, their sales. And I label this as being the guardian angels for these business owners who are there to lift consciousness on the planet. I need them to focus on raising consciousness and know that they have guardian angels taking care of their business. The impact that when I do this is I get to elevate people that have a powerful voice into a greater voice for change that we need to see in the world. I am motivated, and that's why I sell to them, because if I can support them, they can rise and make the change the world needs to see. Being clear on that impact gives you that really powerful, convincing message that you share with people of why you sell. Because ultimately, people want to know, why are you selling to me, right? The Simon Sinek says, start with why. This is very similar as well. Be clear on the impact, because when you are, you'll speak from the heart. When you go to sell, you'll be like, the reason I'm selling this to you is because this is the difference I want to see in the world, and you're a part of that mission. It's powerful.
Jump in here before you take the other ones, because I've heard that most people do not like to be sold something to. Have you heard that as well?
100%.
Right. So what do we do then initially when people are like, I don't want to be sold to, but still you have that enthusiasm? There's
2 sides to this. One is, at scale, the most effective way of overcoming this block that people don't want to be sold to is you have to find ways to become attractive to others, right? And that's entirely the role of marketing. Like, what you're trying to design is a way for you to be attractive enough that people come to you and say, hey, what are you all about? And so you'll see a lot of advocacy around, you know, you're building your social media, your content, launch a podcast, do a blog. You've heard that advice. We've done this. We're trying to show that we are consistent. We're delivering value in advance. And then we're giving a reason for people to come to us and be attractive, so that when somebody comes to you and raises their hand and says, hey, you sound like you're doing something interesting, I want to do more, then you almost have permission to sell to them. So now it's like, okay, the conversation is now that they've come to you. So, hey, since you've come to me, let me explain what's going on. Now you're not pushing a sale on anybody. You're showing somebody who has shown interest of buying. And that can definitely appease the question that you ask, people not liking to be sold to. But if they show interest, then you almost have permission to show them the process of what does it look like to buy. And I'm playing with those words to say that you're not selling to people. And it's true, people don't like to be sold to, but the other side of the coin, when you're just getting started, is that you need to actually go out there and you need to be known. You need to have a chance to be recognized in a noisy world. And no, I'm not telling you to go spam everyone in your contact list and tell them, hey, buy my things. But if you are genuinely curious in people, interested in people, and you have something of value, if you take interest in others consistently around the types of problems that you solve, you can at least open conversations and provide value in advance. But it does demand you to go out and have conversations, to go out and reach out to new people, to do what is the most dreaded activity of even the most professional salespeople, which is prospecting. And yeah, I do think that this is a muscle that a lot of people need to practice, should practice. And for me, one of the blessings I've had in my late teens as a job, which I thought I was dreading, but then realized it was one of my biggest gifts, is I was put in a room to do telephone sales for a real estate company. And that was doing 100 calls a day. and reading a script. Now, if that doesn't sound like a telemarketer, no, it is a telemarketer job, but I was told it was reverse prospecting from people that were inquiring about properties. But nonetheless, it got me to go over my own fear of rejection. And, on this side of the coin, here's what I will say is, like, most people aren't walking around thinking, you know what, today what I need to go spend on is something to heal myself. People aren't even aware that they're hurting or that they might need to reconnect with their spirituality. And I think if you know that your problem, or that you know that the problem that they have can be solved with the solution you have, I think you owe it to yourself to be making ways to be more attractive for people, to reach out to people, make sure that you're known, make sure that it's aware. And so to me, yeah, I don't like the fact that it's like, yeah, people don't like to be sold to. Yeah, not necessarily. If it's something that generally changes your life and can solve your problems, I think it'd be at least worthy for people to be made aware. And depending on where you are in the life cycle, like sometimes you really need to make people aware. Like, could you imagine somebody that's on their way of being morbidly obese and their health is deteriorating and it's going to cut their lifespan? Like, or if somebody who's just deeply, deeply addicted to drugs. And this is a bit of a personal story, but this is like nobody wants to be sold to. Yeah, I had a friend that was, addicted to drugs, and we got together a bunch of friends and we had to orchestrate an intervention. And that was the greatest gift we ever did to a friend who definitely did not want to be sold to. But when you know what you offer is so much more than what you're asking for your return, sometimes you do what is necessary to show that you care. And again, the intent is really, really powerful. You go sell when it's necessary. And at the beginning, you're going to need to do more of it and you're going to be uncomfortable. But if you can train that muscle, you're going to be liberated from being, passive in anything that is in your life, and you'll be able to take responsibility. And that's the power that comes from mastering the art of sales, if you ask me.
To watch the full video, click the link below, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel.
Resto maliata falia, tan